In the autumn of 1888, in one of the poorest districts of London, 5 women were murdered within a few streets of each other over the course of about 10 weeks. The killer was never caught, never definitively identified, and more than a century of investigation by police, journalists, and historians has produced dozens of suspects, but no consensus. He became known by a name taken from a letter the police likely never received from the real killer at all: Jack the Ripper. Tonight, I'm not going to give you a dramatic solution, because there isn't one that historians agree on. Instead, I'm going to walk you through exactly what the historical record actually supports, where the real uncertainty lies, and why, even today, credible researchers disagree. By 1888, Whitechapel was one of the most deprived parts of London, dense, poor, and struggling with overcrowded housing, known at the time as a district where many women survived through casual prostitution simply to afford a bed for the night. This context matters because it shaped both how the murders happened and how the victims were perceived and reported on at the time, something we'll come back to later. The Metropolitan Police's official file, titled The Whitechapel Murders, actually lists 11 killings between 1888 and 1891. But historians generally agree that 5 of them share enough common features, method, location, timing, to be confidently linked to a single killer. These are known as the canonical 5. Mary Ann Nichols was found in Bucks Row on August 31st. Annie Chapman was found on Hanbury Street on September 8th. Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes were both found on the night of September 30th, a night sometimes called the double event, since 2 murders happened within about an hour of each other. Mary Jane Kelly, the last of the 5, was found on November 9th inside her rented room, the only victim killed indoors and by far the most severely injured. In each case, the victim's throat was cut, and injuries were inflicted after death. The severity increased with each murder, culminating with Kelly. This detail matters to historians and criminal profilers, since it's often cited as evidence the killer's confidence, or compulsion, was escalating over time. Contemporary police surgeon Dr. Thomas Bond, who reviewed the inquest records for 4 of the 5 cases, concluded they were the work of the same person. That professional medical assessment, made at the time and preserved in the police file, is one of the strongest pieces of evidence historians rely on for treating these 5 as connected. During the investigation, London newspapers and the police received hundreds of letters claiming to be from the killer. Most were later dismissed as hoaxes, including, most historians believe, the famous "Dear Boss" letter that gave the killer his nickname. It was likely written by a journalist trying to sell newspapers, not by the actual murderer. One exception researchers still debate is the "From Hell" letter, sent along with what was reportedly part of a human kidney to a local Whitechapel official. Some researchers consider it a stronger candidate for genuine killer correspondence. Others remain skeptical it can be verified at all, since the original has since been lost and only period transcriptions survive. In 1894, senior police official Melville Macnaghten wrote an internal memo naming 3 men he considered the strongest suspects: Montague John Druitt, a barrister who drowned in the Thames weeks after the final murder; Aaron Kosminski, a Polish-Jewish immigrant with documented mental illness; and Michael Ostrog, a con man with a history of institutionalization. None were ever formally charged. None were confirmed guilty by any court or contemporary forensic evidence. Since then, researchers have proposed dozens of additional suspects, from local laborers to, in more sensational later books, members of the royal household or well-known public figures. Historians like Philip Sugden have been explicit that most of these later theories rest on speculation rather than the surviving primary evidence, and several popular suspects from earlier books have since been effectively ruled out by subsequent research. In 5 women were murdered in Whitechapel in 1888, almost certainly by the same person, based on contemporary medical assessment and consistent method. The killer's identity was never conclusively established by the police at the time, and no suspect has since been proven guilty to the standard historians would consider settled. It's worth including a meaningful counterpoint here. Historian Hallie Rubenhold's 2019 book, The Five, challenged the long-standing assumption, repeated in most earlier Ripper literature, that all 5 victims were working as prostitutes at the time of their deaths. Her research argues the evidence for that claim is thinner than a century of retellings assumed, and that the focus on who killed them has often overshadowed the actual documented lives of the women themselves. It's a genuinely influential reframing, and one more and more historians now take seriously. That tension between the enduring mystery of the killer's identity and the historically undertold stories of the 5 women who died is arguably the most honest place to leave this case. If you want the most rigorously sourced account, Philip Sugden's The Complete History of Jack the Ripper is the historian's standard. If you want to understand the victims as people rather than case files, Hallie Rubenhold's The Five is essential reading. If you found this useful, subscribe for more historical mysteries where we stay close to the documented record instead of chasing the most dramatic theory. And tell me in the comments which unresolved case you want covered next. Until next time.